Welcome. We're excited that you're joining us today. I am here with a special guest. We're going to be talking about all things niche markets, but specifically land acquisition, land assembly that's going to support you in creating your own listing pool, so to speak. So we have with us Adil Dinani, who is here from Vancouver. Adil, welcome. Thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you, Kathleen. I appreciate you having me. It's an honor to part of the platform with so many amazing agents across the country.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, congratulations, because of course you're here as part of the Chairman's Mastermind Summit, and you had a phenomenal year last year. So I want to congratulate you on that. I have that you are 132% up in gross commission income in 2021 over 2020, as well as 172% growth in unit sales. So congrats on that.
So much. Yeah, it was a fun and exciting year and a busy year.
Yes, I bet. And yeah, true. And a busy year. So can you tell us exactly what you do? Because you had some unique shifts, obviously in, BC and the Vancouver market, and you really took a different approach overall with your business. So can you tell us a little bit about that shift? And then I know we have a visual I'll cue when you let me know with some of those steps.
Yeah, so I've been on the front line. I've been a practitioner for north of 15 years now. And, I think in this business, there's a direct correlation. Your income is a direct correlation to the value you bring to the marketplace and to your clients. And I've been mindful of that from the very onset of me being in the business. And so I think I hit a point in 2018, if I were to kind of take you back, that thought process of me making that shift in the business. I had this kind of seminal moment in 2018 when we saw a significant shift in the marketplace. I was carrying, for me, 25 to 30 listings, which was a significant amount of inventory for me. Small team of one other licensee and one assistant. And what I found was the amount of work required to service 30 listings, for example, was pretty daunting, especially in a market that's hit an inflection point. It's changing. We hit a 30-year low, so a 3-decade low in transaction volumes in 2018. Mm-hmm. And that was attributed to a plethora of policy changes at the provincial level. Initially a 15% foreign buyer tax, which was then increased by the new government to 20%. And so that really took the wind out of the sails of the market. And then we had to really regroup and determine how we were going to move forward. And I think in 2018 I took that introspective approach, and I really had to dig deep into what it is that I wanted to build. And if I'm being completely candid, I probably hit burnout in that year specifically, where I'm like, oh my God, this is overwhelming. And we're losing listings, okay, because there's been a disconnection from expectations to where the market is today. And we did our best to manage those expectations, of course. But as the market shifts, that's the nature of our business. Some sellers are going to decide to hold on to their properties. Mm-hmm. And so we went from 30 to 15, and then there's sunk costs in that process. And so I think I asked myself as a practitioner, what part of my business reinforced my highest and best skill set, and what's going to bring out the highest earning potential in my business. And I think after 12 years in the business at that time, how was I going to enjoy another 12 years in the business, and how was I going to get longevity and ultimately happiness out of my work? So that's where I decided to, at that point, about 20% of our business was new construction, right? And I thought that it would be best spent, my time would be best spent scaling that component of the business, right? A really great business needs scale and leverage. And in order to get the scale, I need really good people. And so I brought on 2 more licensed sales partners, which helped me build the business. And so what we've done now is we've actually shifted to almost 52% of our business in 2021 was new construction. And I love new construction. And I'm also mindful of the fact that resale is a big part of our business, right? Oftentimes when developers hit pause, the retail market or regular folks still need to buy and sell homes because of life circumstance. So I understand that pays a big part of our G&A, our general administrative costs. And so that's an important part of my business. The team helps me manage that end of the business on a day-to-day basis. And now I'm focusing my time and energy on onboarding more developers adding value through that process. And, we've narrowed it down in the last 3 years. We've done 5 boutique buildings, anywhere from 20 to $50 million sellouts. And I really enjoy being involved from the outset, from land acquisition to the consulting process, and ultimately, building our sales team to represent the developer and bring that product to market.
Excellent. So you got really resourceful with the changes. And prior to that, I guess, were a decent percentage of your clientele going to be impacted by the foreign tax, or was it more just the market shifted? How can we create a bigger opportunity for our developer and investment and I guess builder clients?
Yeah, great question. So I think it generally impacted market sentiment. Confidence was eroded. People weren't buying. Developers weren't acquiring land. Everyone was just on pause. They wanted the dust to settle. From peak to trough, we probably saw a 25% decrease in prices from like the highest end of the market. So our clients also, the 25% of the developer clients we were working with, they were selling $3 million end product, which was very difficult to move. Oftentimes they were selling them below cost just to move the inventory. They're in the business of replacing inventory, right? So they would sell it, buy land at a discount, and then start the process again. So what we were telling them to do is, let's graduate up the development ladder, right? Where you have $3 to $4 million homes that are not selling, that were selling for a little over $2 million. So any profit you're expecting to make was eroded with the market shift. Why don't we create more affordable product at a price point that's going to be attainable by a larger segment or pool of the market? So we moved them up the ladder to like infill, the missing middle, which was like townhome product in inventory, right around that $1 million price point. I think it's very attainable in Vancouver, or like in the suburbs where we operate. We're not like limited by geography where we represent our clients. We were between 1 and 1.5, and of course, as the market's gone up in the last 2 years, that's trending sometimes just under 2 million for our duplex infill product. But it's a very attainable price point, and a lot of these new zoning bylaws that have come in, which we were like ahead of with our clients, allowed us to land at a very attractive price. Oftentimes, we were ahead of the curve, and when we were buying these properties, the selling agents weren't aware of the zoning changes. So again, I think that's all about adding value to your buy side of the deal, right? And so when you build that trust and confidence with your client, and they're getting property, immediately below market value, and they're going to be able to trade multiple units on it, they're going to have that trust and confidence in you to represent them and work with them as part of the whole development process in that cycle.
Absolutely. So I think you said a couple of important things. One, you need to have scale and leverage to build a business, which is such an important message that I don't think we always hear in time in real estate. And I think the second thing that is just ingenious is, look for opportunities. Like obviously there are leaders in our industry who had purchased land, and therefore they were able to work with developers and then have the listing and sale. But I mean, you're looking at it and creating those opportunities for your investors and then securing the listings in advance once they've built those units, which I think is fantastic. And the second thing I want to talk about with the idea of scale and leverage is, I know obviously with building your business, you've also built your team, and you've talked about how important culture is to your team and performance. So what are some of the tools that you use to ensure a strong culture overall with your team?
Yeah, so I think the foundational principles of our team are like culture and collaboration, right? I want to make sure that, and communication, I guess the 3 C's, we'll call them. And I'm mindful of the transient nature of agents in our industry. And I've seen a lot of teams grow, scale, but then lose a lot and not being able to, retain their staff. And that's not something I wanted. I understand it's a natural part of growth. Not everyone's going to stay, but my goal was to really hone in and figure out what was important to my staff from the beginning. So I grew slowly, very slowly. Like I brought on 1 sales partner every year for the last 3 years. So now it's myself as the team leader, 3 sales partners, and a full-time administrator. So it's a team of 5. I call it like a nice boutique team. Yeah. We're very in touch every day. I think the most important thing for me was actually sitting down with my staff and my team members and figuring out what was important for them. We talk about emotional intelligence. And what's interesting is our most valuable assets on our team are our team members. And so if they're happy and we're paying attention as team leaders to their human elements of understanding what motivates them, I think that's gonna, you know, that's gonna like grow our business in a steady way, in a sustainable way. And also like they will appreciate the fact that that you're asking the right questions. You know, I did my quarterly reviews at the end of March with my team. And like we naturally assume people just want more income, but it's not always about income. You know, I sat down with one of my team members and she wanted more time off. You know, she work every weekend, and I respected and appreciated that. And I think historically, if you look at intelligence and emotion, they were almost looked at polar. They don't work hand in hand with one another. Like I was always told when I was one of my cousins is a lawyer growing up, you need to be rational versus emotional in your decisions and as a business leader. But I think now they work part and parcel with one another. You need to combine that intelligence and figure out what the best moves are going to be for your team, and maintain that level of empathy with your staff. And I think that's worked really well for us. So self-awareness, keeping them motivated, asking what they want on a regular basis. And I think they appreciate that aspect of things as well. And it's, you know, touch wood, you know, very minimal to no turnover. And we have a great culture and everyone's really happy to come to work. And I think that makes me feel good because as a team leader, I've created something special.
Absolutely. And I think, and we have a visual that I think is worth taking a peek at, because, you know, there's been a shift and is a shift in leadership for sure. And I think you're kind of hitting the nail on the head. Now it's more holistic, right? That rational side and emotional side. But this is something that we share an interest in. And I know in the past I've talked with our community and at events about the importance of emotional intelligence, and what you see in front of you, I think is really fascinating for all of us in leadership. And it's showing you the importance for success overall, or star performance. I guess you could say exceptional performance in IQ versus EQ, which is emotional intelligence. So all jobs on the left, you can see emotional intelligence is still double the important ingredient in star performance for all jobs. But in leadership jobs, I mean, it's exponentially more important. So I love that you brought this up, Adil, because I just have such a passion for it. And I think we won't go too far into it because it's its own topic, but, you know, Daniel Goleman has a phenomenal research, YouTubes, he even has mini books on emotional intelligence with teams or leadership. That's just, the research is phenomenal. But if anyone's wondering the ingredients of it, I shared this just so we could look at it, Adil, because with our research, there's 4 factors: self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, relationship management, and that all allows us to have that positive impact on others. So I agree with you completely. I mean, that's pretty core skill sets we need to have.
Yeah, I think that goes such a distance with your team. And I love the fact that we're starting to talk about it as business leaders, in terms of impacting our people, because sometimes it's not exactly what we think that they're motivated by. So getting down to the crux, or getting deeper into what gets them excited about coming to work and in life, what's important to them, I think will speak volumes in terms of growing your team.
Absolutely. Powering people up. And it is in our full conversation. So just for reference, this goes a lot deeper. If you're fascinated, look into it. But we just wanted to at least share a couple of resources on that today. And I know so your business, like you had 172% increase in units, which is really exciting. So like not just the market's growing, your business is legitimately growing, right, in its scope. But half of that business is being done by team members. So what does the future of the business look like for you? Do you want that shift to continue to happen? Where does your role move with all of this growth in the business? What does that all look like?
So this year's a bit daunting. I don't know if we can have those growth numbers again, but that's probably where I call you to figure out what the next path forward. But our focus this year, my goal is to build capacity within my team members. I want to do less on the retail kind of regular day-to-day business side of things. I want to focus on onboarding clients with scale. Now, I've also dissected my database in terms of clients that are more investor, more sophisticated status, and I really enjoy working with that segment of my database and past clients. And I think for me going forward, that's probably where more of my energy is going to be spent. I'm still very hands-on with every aspect of my business, but now I'm letting my team take on more of the day-to-day listings, even the buy-side deals, where I'm involved with the initial introductions with clients, but they're running with the client, till completion, till the end. And the clients know I'm there to support if needed, but really the lead point person is going to be one of my team members. That's allowing me to have a family life, allowing me to have personal time, and it's allowing my team members to grow, both their income, their confidence, and I think that's going to help me also keep my team members, because they see, like, at the end of the day, as much as we want to add value to our clients, because we want to make sure they keep coming back and keep using our services, I want to keep adding value. The moment I stop adding value to my team members is when there's going to be a rift, is when they're going to look for other options and opportunities. And I want to prevent that from happening. I want to keep them happy. I want to keep them motivated, and I want to keep them rewarded.
Absolutely. And I think it's a fair question for us as leaders always to say, would I want to work for myself? And I give full credit that top producers and team leaders who wear both hats are in a really tricky position, because on the one hand, as a top producer, I mean, if you're selling 80% of the team's production, you're like, I'm winning, I'm killing it as a top producer. But as a team leader, it's really hard, because on the flip side, you're like, but am I winning as a team leader, right? As a team leader, I win when my team wins. So it's hard. It's not easy. It's not an easy progression. And I think it takes a lot of strategy and, focus on exactly what you want to create and why. And I'm hearing that from you. Hey, the lifestyle for them and for myself. So I congratulate you. I know you've had a phenomenal year, and thank you for sharing your leadership mentality, because I think you're shining a light on where I think leadership is shifting completely with those two worlds, right? Logic and emotion. So thank you so much for that, Adil. We appreciate your time.
Likewise. Thank you, Kathleen. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.